You're watching this in the dark, aren't you? Good. That's when they come closer. Welcome to Dark Entity Studio. There's a building in the heart of the city where she waits. If you pass too close, if you're unlucky enough to notice the crying, it's already too late. This story is real. It happened to someone I know. In the city center, near the silent waters of a vast lake, lies a gated society. 6 tall buildings, neat, peaceful, but one of them doesn't belong. Building D. People say it's colder, quieter, and its lift. It moves, even when no one's there. Years ago, a woman lived on the top floor. She was rarely seen, but often heard crying. One day, she vanished. No explanation, no body, just silence. Since then, strange things have plagued the building. Lights flicker, the lift opens by itself, and sometimes you hear her crying late at night. Rahul, one young man, lived in the adjacent building. That night, he returned from work in his car. It was around 1 a.m. He was drained, eyes heavy, the streets dead silent. He parked his car and walked towards his flat. Just as he entered the stairwell, he paused. He had forgotten his laptop in the car. Important files. He sighed, turned back, and walked again, right past the infamous Building D. As he passed the building, something made him stop. The lift inside began to move. No one was near. Yet the rusted metal gate creaked open on its own. Rahul froze. It wasn't an automatic lift. He walked slowly, step by step, drawn by the low mechanical hum still echoing through the hallway. The flickering tube light above the lift buzzed like a dying insect, casting strobe-like flashes across the corridor. As he reached the lift, he stopped. The grill door was wide open, rusted, cold, unmoving. Inside, nothing, just silence. A dim light flickered on the lift ceiling, barely revealing cracked tiles and an empty floor. He leaned in slightly, peering into the dim box. His heart thudded louder than his footsteps now. Was someone just here? There were no voices, no footsteps retreating, just that stale metallic smell and the faint chill crawling up his spine. Must have been someone who forgot to close it, he mumbled to himself, trying to believe it. So he took a breath, reached out, and slid the old iron grill across with a groan of rusted hinges. The sound echoed through the empty corridor, like a scream held too long. Done. He turned, relieved, and took a step toward the stairwell. But just as his foot hit the first stair, clank, the grill gate creaked open again, by itself. But just as he took a breath, trying to brush it off, it happened again. A sound, low, mechanical, groaning, the same old lift. Creak. The metal grill shuddered and began sliding open. But this time, it wasn't quick. It was slow, deliberate, as if something was forcing it open from the inside. He froze, every instinct screaming to run. But his legs? They didn't listen. The air around him grew dense, colder than it had been seconds ago. It felt unnatural, like someone had turned off the world. He could see his breath now, fogging in front of his mouth. And then, that smell hit him. Thick, metallic, like rusted iron. No, like blood. But beneath it, something even worse. Decay. That sickly sweet stench of something long dead, rotting in the dark, unseen, unspoken. He wanted to look inside, but every part of him screamed to not to. A whisper, soft, almost like a sigh, seemed to crawl out from the open lift. Something was there, watching, waiting. He ran, blindly, desperately, his breath short, ragged, panicked. Every footstep echoed like gunshots in the narrow stairwell. Thud, thud, thud. He took the stairs, 2 at a time, barely touching the railing. His mind screamed, "Don't look back. Don't look at the lift." He reached the first floor, lungs burning, heart pounding, like a war drum in his chest. He paused, hands trembling, the corridor stretching endlessly ahead of him. But then, he heard it. At first, it was distant, barely a whisper, beneath the hum of the flickering lights. A woman, crying, software broken, hollow. It wasn't just sound, it was sorrow, like someone grieving something too horrible to name. His blood froze. He turned, slowly, almost unwillingly, toward the stairwell opening, toward the lift. It was there, open, fully, wider than before, as if waiting. Darkness inside, absolute, like a mouth, ready to swallow. The crying grew louder now, still muffled, but unmistakably real. It was coming from inside the lift. A part of him wanted to call out, ask who was there, but something deep inside him, instinct, screamed louder. That's not someone who needs help. It's something that wants you to come closer. He backed away slowly, never taking his eyes off the elevator. He reached his door, finally, chest heaving, hands shaking. He reached into his pocket. Keys. But they slipped from his trembling fingers, clattering to the floor with a sound that echoed too loudly in the empty corridor. He bent down, scrambling to pick them up. That's when he noticed the crying. It wasn't distant anymore. It was right behind him, no longer a soft, mournful wail. It was louder, sharper, distorted, like grief twisted into anger. He didn't dare look back. He forced the key into the lock, his fingers cold and barely functioning. Click, click. Why wasn't it turning? And then, slam. Something shoved him, hard. He went flying, face first onto the floor. Pain shot through his shoulder and cheek, but he barely noticed. He turned around in terror. No one, nothing, just the long, empty hallway stretching out before him. The crying had stopped. No footsteps, no breeze, no hum of the lift. Just silence. The kind of silence that doesn't feel empty. It feels like something is holding its breath, watching, waiting. He stared down the hall, heart racing, then grabbed his keys again. This time, they didn't fall. He opened the door with shaking hands and slipped inside without a second thought. He scrambled to his feet, knees scraped, hands trembling. Barely breathing, he shoved the key into the lock. Click, click, the door creaked open. He lunged inside, slamming it shut behind him with a desperate shove. Lock, bolt, chain. He secured everything. The hallway disappeared behind thick wood and metal. But the fear, it stayed. He sat there, against the door, trying to catch his breath. Then, he heard it again. The crying, still there, right outside. A woman's sobs, raw, broken, drenched in pain. It didn't fade. It didn't move away. It just stayed. Like she was standing on the other side of the door. Like she knew where he lived now. He didn't dare peek through the peephole. He didn't even breathe too loudly. All he could do was listen. The soft, rhythmic sobbing continued. A lullaby from hell, echoing in the silence of his apartment. You've reached the end of this story, but in the world of shadows, endings are just the beginning. Subscribe to Dark Entity Studio, and don't forget to turn off the lights.